What if I told you that one of the smartest performance cars ever built wasn't a supercar? Not a Ferrari,
Timeless,
not a Porsche,
intelligent,
not something
driver-focused,
exotic,
emotional
expensive,
but
or
restrained.
unattainable.
A car that values
What if I told you
precision
that
over
one of the
noise.
most intellectually
Quiet confidence.
advanced driver's cars in
Perfectly
history
engineered.
wore a Honda badge, a brand people often associate with reliability, not rebellion? A car that didn't rely on raw horsepower to impress, but instead relied on engineering intelligence to redefine what performance could feel like. What if I told you that in 1999, Honda created a machine that could predict corners, fight understeer mechanically, and out-engineer many modern cars without computers doing the thinking for you? At a time when most performance cars solved problems with brute force, Honda solved them with precision. When others added power to hide flaws, Honda removed flaws entirely. This car didn't overpower the road, it understood it. And what if I told you that this car failed, not because it wasn't good enough, but because it was too advanced for the world that received it, too subtle, too honest, too demanding? It asked drivers to be involved, to learn, to improve, and the market was already moving toward ease, comfort, and distraction. This wasn't a car that begged to be liked, it was a car that expected to be understood. This is the 1999 Honda Prelude Type SH. And this is the story of a car that didn't chase speed, lap times, or headlines. It chased perfection. A car built by engineers, not marketers. In the late 1990s, Honda stood at a crossroads. They could follow the market, or they could follow their principles. While other brands obsessed over wing sizes, turbo badges, and aggressive styling cues, Honda's engineers were obsessing over something far less visible, but far more important: balance, feedback, control. Honda wasn't trying to dominate headlines, they were trying to dominate engineering purity. This was dangerous in a business
final
sense,
iteration,
because
the
they
Type
weren't building
SH,
cars for
represented the
impulse
pinnacle of
buyers.
the Prelude
They were
line.
building cars for drivers, people who cared about how a car felt at the limit, people who noticed steering feedback, people who understood weight transfer. The Prelude Type SH was never meant to be loud. It was never meant to be viral. It was never meant to shout. It was meant to be right.
What if
Designed
the
by
smartest
people who
performance
believed
car
performance
was never
should
a
feel
supercar?
natural, not forced, earned, not handed to you. Design that speaks quiet confidence. The Prelude's design
Mechanical
doesn't
intelligence
scream
before
power,
electronics.
it whispers intelligence. A low hood line that improves visibility and aerodynamics. A wide stance that gives the car natural stability. Frameless doors that reduce visual weight and enhance the coupe silhouette. Clean, uninterrupted body lines that prioritize airflow over drama. There's nothing accidental here. No fake vents pretending to cool something. No exaggerated spoilers trying to convince you it's fast. No unnecessary aggression. Everything you see exists because it serves a purpose. The Prelude doesn't look balanced by coincidence. It looks balanced because it is balanced. This wasn't a car styled to follow trends. It was styled to outlast them. That's why today it doesn't feel old. It feels intentional. The H22A4, engineered, not advertised. Under the hood sits the legendary H22A4 2.2-liter VTEC engine. And here's the truth most people never talk about. This engine was never built to dominate spec sheets. It was built to educate drivers. In a world chasing instant torque, this engine asks for patience. In a world rewarding lazy inputs, it demands intention. Below 5,000 RPM, it's smooth, refined, almost polite, perfectly usable, perfectly calm. But cross that line, and everything changes. The engine sharpens, the throttle response tightens, the sound hardens. VTEC doesn't just engage, it reveals what the engine was always capable of. This is an engine that rewards commitment, that punishes sloppy driving, that makes you better every time you push it. Not faster, better. Type SH, mechanical intelligence before electronics. And now we reach the soul of the Type SH, ATTS, Active Torque Transfer System. And this is where most explanations fall short. This wasn't traction control. This wasn't stability software. This wasn't a computer pretending to understand grip. This was mechanical intelligence. Honda designed a system that could actively send more torque to the outside front wheel during cornering, the wheel with the most grip. Instead of pushing wide like most front-wheel drive cars, the Prelude pulled itself into the corner. It didn't fight physics, it worked with it. In the late 1990s, this was revolutionary. Even today, many performance cars rely on heavy electronic intervention to achieve similar results. Honda did it with gears, clutches, and engineering courage. The result wasn't just better lap times, it was confidence. The kind of confidence that makes a car feel like it's reading the road alongside you. The chassis nobody talks about. Here's a secret most reviews ignore. The Prelude isn't great because of one feature. It's great because everything is connected. The suspension geometry was tuned specifically for ATTS. The weight distribution was carefully calculated. The chassis rigidity was reinforced where it mattered most. The steering was calibrated for feel, not isolation. This wasn't a collection of parts, it was a system. Modern cars often add power to mask imbalance. The Prelude eliminated imbalance entirely. That's why it feels natural. That's why it feels predictable. That's why it feels alive. Interior, pure driver energy. Step inside the Prelude and something becomes immediately clear. This car has priorities. The dashboard angles toward the driver. The gauges are clear, analog, and honest. Every control falls exactly where your hands expect it. There are no screens demanding attention, no artificial engine sounds, no distractions. Honda assumed something radical, that the driver wanted to drive. Even the seating position reflects this belief. Low, supportive, but never punishing. Comfortable enough for daily life, focused enough for spirited driving. It's a cockpit, not a living room.
Why it failed commercially. The Prelude didn't disappear because it lacked quality. It disappeared because the world changed. Buyers wanted SUVs instead of coupes, automatics instead of manuals, torque instead of technique, comfort instead of connection. The Prelude demanded involvement, and the market stopped wanting to be involved. It was a driver's car in a world drifting away from driving. Why it's becoming a legend now. Today, clean Prelude Type SH models are getting rare, and suddenly people understand. Collectors are paying attention, enthusiasts are searching, drivers are realizing what was lost. This car represents the end of pure, analog, engineering-first performance. Before emissions muted character, before software replaced skill, before screens replaced sensations. This was Honda at its most honest, its most ambitious, its most human. Final message. The 1999 Honda Prelude Type SH was never built to be famous. It was built to be correct. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't flex for approval. It doesn't chase trends. It simply delivers one of the purest front-wheel drive experiences ever engineered. This isn't a forgotten car. It's a misunderstood one. And maybe that's exactly what makes it legendary.